Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nick Deb, and I'm the social media and digital media marketing specialist for the West Bend Theater Company, as well as a member of its board of directors. Thank you for joining us here today. And joining me is Mr. Mack Bates. Mack is going to be one of the actors who will perform in our upcoming show in Act of God that is coming to The Bend, which is the historic downtown West Bend Theater. It is on September 11th and 12th. Tickets are on sale. And reminder, we do have a limited capacity for the events. So be sure to get your tickets soon because we're already selling them out pretty quick. As you see scrolling along the bottom, they have some information how you get tickets. So let's find out. Let's find out a little bit about Mac. So Mac, first, thanks a bunch for joining us this afternoon.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So just first, if you could, can you kind of talk to us about your involvement in Act of God and what may have got you interested in doing the show?
Like a lot of people, I've been missing going to the theater, movie theater, to go see plays, concerts, that sort of thing. And when I was approached about this, I was ambivalent, to say the least, and I had a lot of questions for Nancy Stores, the producer, and she reassured me about all of the concerns that I had and let me know how seriously that this production was going to be taking social distancing and making mass mandatory at the performances. And I weighed all of that, and it was a relatively small time commitment, and I've been hankering to do something comedic. It's my first full-on comedy, so it was kind of hard to pass up. And Rob Dessy, who's playing God in the show, had seen me last fall in a production of The War of the Worlds at Kettle Moraine Playhouse, and he had let me know that he was interested in me being a part of this. So it isn't every day that you get offered something on a silver platter, essentially. So it was too good to pass up, certainly with all of the precautions and measures that they have in place.
So, and looking like here, it sounds like it's going to be your debut with us with the West Bend Theater Company. It's the first time you're doing the
Yes,
show with us, correct? So,
yes. Not my
I guess
first time at West Bend, but my first time at West Bend Theater Company.
sure, okay, yeah, I know we've got some other things here, and we'll try and get to those here in a little bit. So, I guess for people who may not know who you are, just if you kind of tell us who you are and give us a little the Reader's Digest version of who Mac Bates is.
Well, yes, my name is Mack Bates. I live in Milwaukee on the northwest side in Brown Deer. I've been here 30 years as of May of this year, so a long time Wisconsinite. I just started doing stage work on stage, actually on stage, just last year. Made my on stage acting debut in a production, an award winning production of August Osage County in West Bend at the old Courthouse Museum. That production was produced by Rogue Stage Theater, which is out of West Bend, and I had a great time. And I thought it was going to be a one and done situation. I did the production. A friend of mine directed it and asked me to be a part of it, and I was happy to do so. But I really thought it was going to be a one and done proposition, and ended up catching the bug as a buddy of mine, Betty Van Gutten, kept inquiring about during the course of that show. She did a live music for the seven performances that we did, and she kept asking me, "Have you got the bug? Have you got the bug?" And I'm like, "No, I don't know, no." And then the last show, she asked me, and I said, "Yeah, I think so. Yeah." I didn't, I knew, but it was one of those things where I just didn't know if it was going to be feasible. So I said, you know what, throw caution to the wind and admit that, yeah, you got the bug, and I've done a couple of things since.
Yeah, and you kind of touched on kind of how you kind of caught the bug. Did you have any kind of interest in doing stage or anything like that before
Yeah,
doing August Osage County with a friend of yours, or is this something you've kind of been waiting to build up on?
well, I went to a performing art high school here in Milwaukee, Milwaukee High School of the Arts, formerly West Division High School, and I was a theater major there. But I really just did scene work in class. I really didn't do. I never went up for any of the school plays or musicals. I did a couple of showcase things, as favors and class assignments, but never actually pursued it steadfastly. And years went by, and the person who directed August Osage County, me and him were film critics, freelance film critics at the Journal Sentinel, Graham Colleen and I. And
Okay.
he kind of introduced me to the theater scene. I did my first thing I did in 2015. I did a voiceover part for a show that he did at Waukesha Civic Theater, Funny Money. I played a 1970s American expatriate disc jockey, and that was a lot of fun. I got a chance to get my WKRP in Cincinnati shtick on, so that was a blast. And then a few years after that, in 2018, I did a couple of voiceovers for a production that he directed of Spring Awakening, which also was an award-winning production. And then 2019, he convinced me to audition for August Osage County. And I had heard of that play. I was certainly familiar with it from its time in Chicago to its time on Broadway to its film adaptation. It had quite a momentous journey to all three incarnations. And so was familiar with it, knew the pedigree, but had no clue that there was anything in it for me. I said, well, it's about a bunch of angry white people in Oklahoma. What could I possibly play in that? And he said, well, there's a sheriff part. And I wasn't familiar with that part. I was familiar with the mother and the sisters and the uncle and I think the cousins. But yeah, I wasn't familiar at all with the part that I ended up playing in that production. And I read the script and I'm like, oh yeah, this is not something you're probably going to be offered again. Something of this magnitude. So I went and auditioned and I got it and had a great time. And yeah, and I got the bug and have done a couple of things since then.
We're excited about getting a chance to do an act of God in the downtown West Bend Theater, newly renovated, just reopened after 11 years of being closed. They just reopened right before the pandemic broke out. So how excited are you about the opportunity to perform at that kind of venue?
Well, when anything is a first, it's always great to be a part of that. It isn't something that happens all the time, but when it does happen, it's a great honor and privilege to have your name attached to that in some way, shape, or form. And the thing that I'm really excited about with this particular production is it's not only produced by a woman, Nancy Stores, it's being directed by a woman, my buddy Christy Maselli, who I co-starred with last fall in the War of the Worlds at Kettle Moraine Playhouse. And getting a chance to work with her again has been a pretty cool endeavor, and I'm looking forward to rehearsals. We're in the rehearsals right now, and certainly looking forward to performing this thing in about a little less than a month now. It's a pretty fast moving locomotive. And I had heard about An Act of God about 3 or 4 years ago when Sean Hayes was doing it, and it was one of those things where I had heard about it, but I really didn't pay much mind to it. It was just something I saw on ET or E News or whatever, and never in a million years thought that I would be a part of a production of it. So it was all very serendipitous how it all came together, and happy to be a part of it, and happy to be working with Christy and Nancy, and with Rob, who's playing God, and with Megan Bell, who's playing my fellow archangel Gabriel. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that collaboration.
Sure. And how have things been with Rob and Megan, both veterans of the West Bend Theater Company? I got a chance to work with Megan on Christmas Carol last year. I haven't worked side by side with Rob, but I got a chance to see him when they did Flanagan's Wake back in March. So what's the camaraderie like with you and the other castmates in the crew?
Well, Rob is pretty easygoing. Same thing with Megan. Just getting to really know them now. Certainly Megan. I had met Rob in October last year when I was doing War of the Worlds. He came to see the show, and we all went out afterwards, hung out, and seemed like a pretty cool guy. And I had seen him a month earlier in the world premiere of Gerard's Nude at Kettle Moraine Playhouse. So I had seen him the month before, and I got a chance to actually, get to meet him and talk one-on-one the following month when I was doing a show there. And Megan, I just met, and yeah, I think there's going to be a nice dynamic there. We were at rehearsal just last night, and some of the reactions that she was giving me from her perch, it was pretty great. And she said that I was similarly giving her good reactions, and yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting dynamic because I'm well, physically we're just so completely desperate. I'm tall, she's short,
Yeah. Yes.
male,
Definitely saw
female,
that in the pictures
black,
there. We
white.
have those pictures
Yeah,
posted. So
yeah. So just the marked dichotomy is going to be interesting to see how that all plays out.
sure. And obviously with this being in the middle of a pandemic, most of these rehearsals have been through Zoom, correct? And I think yesterday
Hmm.
was really the first time you guys had a chance to at least interact as a cast, obviously outside.
Hmm.
So
Yes.
what have been those challenges? What has that been experience been like to do rehearsals through Zoom and not be on a set or something like that? Can you kind of talk about what that experience has been like?
Yeah, when I worked on August and War of the Worlds, as well as a show that I was understudy on earlier this year in Inspector Calls for Occasion Theater Company, it was rehearsal in a rehearsal space, either at the theater or in a rehearsal space, outside of the theater space. And yeah, it was interesting and different. I'm relatively new to this, so I don't have much to compare it to. But yeah, I find it easier to at least be all in a room together physically doing it versus doing it on your own via Zoom. I mean, it's possible to do that certainly if you're doing a reading, but if you're doing a mounted staged presentation, I think it's preferable to say the least to
Sure.
have you all in a room at some point going through the show and trying to find the rhythms and the shape of it and playing off each other. And another thing regarding this production, I'm really proud that the theater company is is advocating so strongly for social distancing during it. They're limiting the number of tickets. I think the theater holds a 350 capacity, and they're only selling about a quarter of those tickets
Right.
throughout
Yeah.
the course of the show.
Yeah.
And again,
Each of the two
mask are
floors are
mandatory.
capping at 85.
And as somebody who is a COVID-19 survivor, I had a lot of concerns going into this when I was first approached, and they've all been assuaged. So I'm excited to be a part of it, and I think that people will be able to come out and feel comfortable being there. And it's just two shows, so and yeah, so hopefully people will come out and check it out and get back to the theater a little bit. It's been a long time. I've been had a
Sure.
long respite from it, and it'll be interesting to see how people take to it.
Yeah, and you bring up an interesting point too. Like I said, it's the attendance is capped just to kind of make sure we adhere to the social distancing and health and safety guidelines. So obviously, these last 5 6 months have just been really tough on just about everybody. Just the
Mhm.
uncertainty and so forth. So with that in mind, you kind of touched on it earlier too. How much do you need this interaction? How much should we encourage people to come out just to say, we need to laugh about something? We've been so stressed out over the last several weeks. We need to have some fun. And so, how important is this show to just to kind of go towards some kind of normalcy, whatever that is down the road?
Well, truth be told, I'm an introvert. So I had to kind of be drawn out of my shell. So I've been okay socially distancing because I do it anyway. So it isn't terribly hard for me to do. But even that said, even introverts need to get out from time to time and interact and be among other people. Other fellow introverts, extroverts, you name it. So I do believe that it's important that people don't just hunker down and feel like they have to quarantine endlessly. Obviously, if you're going to get cabin fever if you do that, my whole stance on that is be smart about it. Don't take a lot of unnecessary risks. Wear a mask. If you are around a lot of people, that would be a smart thing to do, even if you're outside. And I think that social interaction is vital to everybody, extrovert, introvert, you name it. Everybody needs to get out. Everybody needs to be entertained. And in this age of COVID, this pandemic, people need to laugh. They need to, unwind. They need to get out. They need to do whatever they can possibly do within reason to have a sense of normalcy, even in this time of complete and total not normalcy, for lack of a
Right.
better way of putting it. Yeah. So if you could, you'll steel yourself to come and check out the show and have a good time and a good laugh over 90 minutes. Why not? It beats living like a hermit endlessly, because eventually you do have to come back out. Eventually you will have to come back. You'll have to try to reintegrate yourself. Just be smart about it. And this production is certainly setting up it's really a litmus test. I think it's gonna, based on how this all goes, this could very well bode well for future presentations. Just not everything being on Zoom. And no offense to anybody doing Zoom productions, because it's a vital asset and a vital resource, and I'm thrilled that we have it. But having there's nothing really beats having a theater experience, and that comes from a theater lover, a movie lover for sure, who loves to go to the movies and see movies on the big screen, just like I love to go see theater on stage. That's something that has been a recent development for me, because I had seen plays before, but it had been a long time. And over the past couple of years now, I've seen more theater pieces than I've seen probably in 20 years. So it's definitely something that I've gravitated towards recently, and will continue, certainly when more and more people start coming out and doing productions.
All right, Mack. Well, that's all the questions I got for us. I really appreciate you taking some time out of your day to kind of chat with us about who you are and the opportunity to do an act of God, which, as you see at the bottom of the screen here, performed 7:30 on September 11th and 12th at the Bend in West Bend. Tickets are on sale right now at our website, as you see the link right there at the bottom. Again, reminder, we do have a capacity limit set at 85 per show. And tickets have already been going pretty quickly, even though we just put them on sale last week. So don't delay if you want to check out the show. It's definitely worth it from what I'm hearing, Max. So I'm looking forward to seeing it and seeing how everything kind of comes together with the Zoom rehearsals, and then just getting a chance to experience that in-person live theater again. I can't wait, and I'm sure you can't wait as well.
Yes, and I'm excited for my friend Christy, who is going to be the first director to have a show play at the Bend. That's amazing. The fact that a woman is the first person who's going to have a show there, and a female producer, first female producer. For that alone, come out for those, support, us guys. We got to support our ladies like they've always supported us, and support live arts, and support your theater community.
All right, Mack. Well, thanks again for your time. Pleasure chatting with you, and looking forward to seeing you in action.
Thank you so much.